Path purport. Transcendental. Difference between material and transcendental. Anyone would like to explain? Yes. Have you heard this term for the first time? No, no. Never had the curiosity to find out what is this. Huh? Veena Mataji, you should know what is transcendental.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Is this spiritual, which is not of this world, material world.
Okay.
Above.
So transcendental knowledge means spiritual knowledge. Okay. Anyone would like to elaborate on what does it mean? Naresh Prabhu, yes.
The transcendental knowledge means the knowledge about the self and the knowledge about the super soul.
Okay. So knowledge about oneself, knowledge about Supreme Lord is transcendental knowledge. Very good. Thank you. Anyone else? Try. Hurry up, hurry up. We have limited time. Shyamata. Try. No negative marking for wrong answer. You have to unmute yourself. I am not transcendental. I can hear you with muted condition. Yes. Okay, now do it. Yes. Bolo.
Krishna. Yes, transcendental, something which is we understand the word trance, to be in a state and to remain in that state. I feel is transcendental. To be situated in that state for a long time is transcendental. That's what I think.
Okay.
That's all.
Transcendental. Yes, one sec. Anyone else? Yes, Smil, Bolo. Are you able to unmute yourself? No? Okay.
Transcendental means alokik, something which is beyond this lok, and that means golok knowledge. This is what I feel.
Okay, thank you. Something of not of this word. Chitra Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yes.
What I think transcendental means beyond any arguments, something which is supernatural and that is there.
Okay.
When you जब अपने knowledge को enhance करते, then you came to know that there is a transcendental power.
Very good. Thank you very much. So all are right. You all have given correct answers. So the difference between material and transcendental is anything in material world is influenced by three gunas: Sattva-guna, Rajoguna, and Tamaguna. Is influenced by time, and hence it is temporary. It has a specific life. It has time when it originates. It has a time when it is destroyed. Whether it is material knowledge or it is material body, anything around you, material relationships, anything is temporary under the control of three gunas, three modes of material nature. Transcendental is beyond the influence of three gunas, beyond the influence of time, and hence it is eternal, not changeable. Absolute, not relative. Okay, it is absolute. So the knowledge which we are going to read, for example, in this chapter, or we have been, whatever we've been reading so far, all is transcendental, right? Which you will realize in terms of one aspect of eternity, from today's couple of verses. So anything about Krishna is transcendental. His pure devotees also are transcendental. Devotees' possessions, pure devotees, are also transcendental. So anything which remains in touch with Krishna becomes absolute, transcendental. Right? The purpose of Krishna conscious life is to transcend three modes and become transcendental. Means getting back to our original position of being a soul. Correct? And that will happen, with the help of transcendental knowledge. Okay. Now, what was the conclusion of third chapter? Anyone? Quickly. What was the conclusion of third chapter? Where did we end? Sir, video on कीजिए. Jita Mata ji, Sanjay Mali Prabhu, Chitra Mata ji, Naresh Prabhu, Renu Mata ji. Thank you. Hanji, what was the concluding aspect of previous chapter? Yes, Sunil Prabhu. Wait, let me unmute everyone. Then you can. Actually, now you can unmute yourself. Bolo.
Yes, Prabhuji, the third chapter was, the essence was connect karma and results to Krishna and stay internally renounced of the results and externally perform all the prescribed duties.
Very good. Internal renouncing rather than externally renouncing karma. Renouncing karma phala, not karma. In our position. Okay, thank you. Anybody else?
Prabhuji, lust is the biggest enemy, what we have learned in the this chapter, and we have to know the difference between lust and love. So we also,
what is the difference between the two?
We basically the anything which is for the personal desire, or which is for anything which is a material your desires, they would be they would be calling as a basically lust. Anything which is connected to God and sacrifice for the God, or it will be a love to, it will be falling a love, it will not be a lust. So all material desires basically is in is, you can say it is a lust.
Very good. Simplistically, anything we do for our senses, for the gratification of our senses, is lust. Anything we do to please Krishna is love. Okay. So lust is external enemy, internal enemy.
Lust is internal enemy.
Correct. So before we fight our battles outside, we have to conquer this battle inside. A lot of people, they're busy only fighting external battles. And they cannot. Because all battles are a result of their karmas. So they cannot conquer these battles in any case. But one who is able to conquer internal battle, then even external battles can be won, can be conquered. What does it mean? It means the spiritual life can give all solutions to all material problems. But there is no material solution to any material problem. So your enemy is not, he is telling Arjuna, your enemy is not Karna or Bhishma or Dronacharya or Duryodhana. Your enemy is within. First you conquer that enemy. Then you can conquer external enemies. Which means what? that, hard work which one needs to perform should be directed more in spiritual life than material life. It's very nice words in Srimad Bhagavatam. We have discussed this earlier also. It says, Nayam deho devhajam loke kashtan kaman arhate vidbhujam ye tapodyam putraka ye nasatvam shuddhet jasmad brahma sokhyam tu ananta. Very important verse. This is being explained by a father to his son, his 100 sons. Rishabdev explaining to 100 sons. Instruction which a father should give to his son. A parent should give to his children. A teacher should give to his students. Should be directed, on these lines. What is saying? Nayam, na ayam deha devhajam. Devhajam means of all living entities who have material bodies. Nar loke, in this world, kashtan, troublesome, kaman, sense gratification, arhate, deserves. Is saying everybody is busy working hard for material sense gratification, which is a hard fact. 99 out of 100 people are busy trying to satisfy their material senses. Here, their father is telling his son, Lord Vishwadeva told his sons, my dear boys, of all the living entities who have accepted material bodies in this world, one who has been awarded this human form should not, underline, should not work hard day and night simply for sense gratification, which is available even for dogs and hogs that eat stool. One should engage in penance and austerity to attain the divine position of devotional service. So to attain devotional life, to become perfect in spiritual life, to carry out what is being told in Shastras in spiritual life, one should work very, very hard for that. Why? Question will be why? By such activity, it means through spiritual activities, one's heart is purified. What does it mean purified? It means lust is destroyed. So in the concluding verse, in the last chapter, we read how to conquer lust through spiritual intelligence, through spiritual knowledge, through spiritual strength. So through spiritual activities, one can cleanse his heart or destroy all lustful propensities. And when one attains that position, he attains eternal blissful life. So the enemy who is responsible for all the troubles in our life, we have been feeding it royally. Isn't it? Trying to fulfill a lustful desire is like feeding an enemy. But that enemy has to be destroyed, not pampered. How to destroy that enemy? By a very regulated spiritual life. So when that enemy is destroyed or heart is purified, then one can experience a blissful eternal life, which is transcendental to material happiness. Means material happiness is always dvanda. Sukh dukh laga rehta hai. But it is transcendental. It is beyond such material happiness and which continues forever. It is eternal. Okay? So, objective is, or goal of life is to conquer this enemy within through spiritual intervention, and then one can experience peaceful, blissful life in the material life itself. Even without going to spiritual world, one can experience the same happiness here. So that enemy is the root cause of all the troubles, all the anxiety, all the depression, all the stress, all the hard work. That enemy has to be destroyed. Then everything is perfect. Which requires sincere spiritual endeavor. That was the concluding verse, if you remember. Through spiritual strength, one can destroy. Through spiritual knowledge, one can destroy. And the fourth chapter is going to talk about that knowledge, which can give us spiritual strength to destroy this knowledge. So Krishna will explain what is this knowledge, how to receive it. Okay. And then fifth chapter talks about the result of all of this. Second chapter talks about identity. Third chapter talks about what is a duty while in that identity of being a soul. And fourth chapter talks about how to carry out that duty, with what knowledge one should carry out that duty. And the fifth chapter talks about the result, which is the last verse of fifth chapter, which is Bhoktaram Yagatupasam Sarvalok Maheshwaram Surdam Sarva Bhutanam Gyatva Mam Shantim Rachati. Then one attains unadulterated peace. The fifth chapter is a result, which is peace. When one performs his duty while situated in this transcendental knowledge, one attains peace. Make sense? Okay. So Hindi mein, I was hearing one lecture, he was talking about Madhusudan Prabhu. He is saying second chapter talks about pehchan, third chapter talks about क्या बोलते हैं उसको कर्तव्य, fourth chapter talks about ज्ञान, and fifth chapter talks about parinam, the result, which is peace. Okay, so we are gradually moving towards peace, provided we carry out whatever Krishna is teaching us. And that is important. So we'll read first verse. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Imam Vivashvate Yogam Proktavan Aham Avyayam Vivashvan Manave Praha Manor Ikshvakave Bravit. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Imam Vivashvate Yogam Proktavanaham Avyayam Vivashvan Manave Praha Manor Ishvakave Abravit. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, said, Imam, this Vivashvate, unto the Sun God, Yogam, the science of one's relationship to the Supreme, Proktavan, instructed, Aham, I, Avyayam, imperishable, Vivashvan, or the Sun God's name, Manave, unto the Father of mankind, that is Manu, Praha, told Manu, the father of mankind, Ishvakave, unto the king Ishvaku, Abravit, said. The personality of Godhead, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, the personality of Godhead, Lord Shri Krishna said, I instructed this imperishable science of yoga to the Sun God, Vivashvan, and Vivashvan instructed it to Manu, the father of mankind, and Manu in turn instructed it to Ishvaku. So in the previous verse, in third chapter, last verse, Krishna said, through spiritual knowledge or spiritual strength, one can destroy lust. Correct? And now Krishna is saying, that knowledge which I just told you, just mentioned, it can destroy lust. First, I explained this to Sun God. So, Sun God, Surya Dev, was the first student who heard Bhagavad Gita. It is not you who is hearing for the first time. Okay. Okay. He's saying, first I instructed this imperishable. Transcendental means imperishable. Material knowledge means perishable. We discussed many times. All school, colleges, curriculum keep changing. Why? They're all perishable knowledge. The knowledge destroyed, it changes after some time. Old theories are proved wrong, new theories emerge. That is material knowledge. Or in Hindi is called avidya. Here he is talking about I gave spiritual knowledge, transcendental knowledge or vidya to sun god in the beginning, and sun god gave this to, and his name is also given, Vivashwan. Name of sun god is Vivashwan. And Vivashwan instructed it to Manu, the father of mankind, and Manu in turn instructed it to Vishwaku. Okay, all are kings, Kshatriyas. So he is telling Arjuna, a Kshatriya, that first let me tell you who all Kshatriyas who are like you have heard this knowledge previously. Why is Krishna telling Arjuna all this? Any idea? What is he trying to prove, or what he is trying to establish? Why is Krishna talking about sun god, and I told this to billions of years back, then sun god told to his son and he told his son. Okay. Anyone?
Prabhuji, God is actually telling that this knowledge is eternal. Matlab, it will never change.
Very good. First point is this knowledge is eternal. It is not what you have studied in your school colleges. Okay? Now I'm telling you, it is eternal. It will remain forever. It existed in past. It exists now. It will continue to exist in future. Okay. Another point. Anyone else? Thank you, Mukul Prabhu. Leena Mataji, yes.
Krishna. Prabhuji, Krishna is saying that, telling that knowledge is for everybody. Like even for, if he thinks that it is not, it is only for Brahmanas or people who study. This is for even the greatest kings have heard this knowledge. So
Very
he's
good.
encouraged.
So this knowledge is not only meant for a specific class of people, only Brahmanas, only learned class. No, it is meant for everyone. It is meant for everyone, including Kshatriyas, and many Kshatriyas have attained this knowledge previously. Second, third. Yes, Sunil Prabhu. You want to say something?
वो प्रभु जी बोल दिया मुकुल प्रभु ने, टाइमलेसनेस ऑफ दिस नॉलेज.
Eternal. Okay. Yes, Nidhi Mataji.
हरे कृष्णा प्रभु जी.
आप एग्जाम दे रहे हैं ना आज?
जी प्रभु जी. इसके
ओके ठीक है, बोलो.
प्रभु जी, कृष्णा ये बता रहे हैं so that he wants to establish that this knowledge is for every sect of society, whether it is Brahmana, Shudras, Kshatriyas or Vaishyas.
Yes.
It is for everybody, each sect of society.
Yes, it is for everyone. Thank you.
It is not biased.
Yes. Okay. Anything else? Why is Krishna talking about this? Anji?
To encourage that when Arjuna, he was the biggest warrior, he needed it, that we also become, how big we can be, but we always need it.
Sorry?
To encourage us that if Arjuna needed it, though he was the Gudakesh and he was the most, the best warrior, if he needs it or sun god needs it, we also, we could never
Yes.
think.
So he is establishing glory of this knowledge. That even sun god, like a great king like sun god, he also needed it. You also need it. which means whether you have a small problem, you have a big problem, you need to refer to Bhagavad Gita. Otherwise, you can't find solution. As simple as that. That's why it is king of knowledge. I'm sure sun god must be facing big problems. No, they will not, dealing with small problems. आज खाना नहीं है, पैसा नहीं है घर में, है ना? Their problem will be big problems. So establishing the glory of Bhagavad Gita, this knowledge is glorious. Everyone needs it, from sun to you. Yes, Nidhi Mata.
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी, एक पॉइंट में ऐड करना चाहती हूँ. इट इज फॉर धर्म की संस्थापना, सो दैट धर्म की संस्थापना हर युग में, हर सेक्ट में बनी रहे. दिस इज व्हाट आई फील
Yes,
that
okay.
Krishna wants
So,
to convey.
So Krishna will talk about it, that succession was broken and re-establishing. So this is also an attempt to re-establish dharma. Very good. Thank you. So wonderful. So many reasons. One, as you mentioned, to establish glory of, and second, everybody needs it. And third, to basically primarily to increase confidence of Arjuna, and to elevate his shraddha, his belief in this knowledge. If you don't have shraddha, you will not do anything. One does or accept anything only when he believes or he has confidence in it. So he's trying to elevate Arjuna and ours shraddha also. Oh, even sun god read it. Just imagine if sun god is a student of Bhagavad Gita, how fortunate are we that we also are getting the same knowledge? It is non-different from what sun received. Just imagine Dr. Nidhi, one of tiniest soul in the whole of universe, is also receiving Bhagavad Gita, what sun god received. So you are in the same school, same college, same university in which Surya Dev studied. People boast of talking, studying in IIT, IIMs or MITs, but you are studying in the same school, same university where sun god studied, where father of mankind, Manu, he studied, where Ishwaku studied, in which dynasty Lord Ram appeared, Surya Vansh. They studied Bhagavad Gita. Pradeep Prabhu, are you able to appreciate the importance of Bhagavad Gita in life? So wonderful. So anyone who somehow or other is getting access to this knowledge, there is no one who is more fortunate than him or her. Okay, that is the point being made in this verse. I'll read the purport. Here we find the history of Bhagavad Gita traced from a remote time when it was delivered to the royal order of all planets. Beginning from the sun planet, the kings of all planets are especially meant for protection of inhabitants, and therefore the royal order should understand the science of Bhagavad Gita in order to be able to rule the citizens and protect them from material bondage to lust. So he's saying the biggest duty of a king is to protect his subjects or his praja from getting degraded to lower species or to hellish conditions. And what can protect is knowledge of Bhagavad Gita. So every king, every administrator, prime minister, president, MLA, MP, collector, SP, they all should know the essence of Bhagavad Gita. Then they can carry out, execute their duties nicely. Prabhupada had a desire. He wrote to Indira Gandhi a letter, right? That before you start your parliament, all your ministers, MPs, first should have a Bhagavatam class in the morning. Then they should discuss, state, national matters. Evening, they should understand Bhagavad Gita. Then they'll be in position to rule this country or administer this country nicely. That was Prabhupada's vision. So he wanted All these, people, political people, they should attend Gita Bhagavatam classes. But it's a challenge to get them into Bhagavad Gita classes because they are so overwhelmed, with the kind of power they enjoy, as a prime minister or as a whatever, this minister, that minister, or collector of this. It's very difficult for them to, bend, to accept something else, which destroys their false ego. So that's why Kunti Maharani says in Srimad Bhagavatam, then what are the disqualifications for a devotee? What makes it difficult to become a nice devotee? Higher wealth makes it difficult. Beauty makes it difficult. Fame makes it difficult. Material knowledge, doctor, MBA, makes it difficult. So all these so-called material qualifications makes it difficult to be qualified for spiritual knowledge. Why? Ego comes on the way. Ego becomes an obstacle. Oh, I am so learned. I am so famous. I am so wealthy. I got everything what desires for. Why should I read Bhagavad Gita? I am so happy. I have everything. I have a nice family. I have a big house. I have a couple of cars. There's some people working under me. So what do you need to read Bhagavad Gita? So that becomes disqualification to get access to this wonderful knowledge. Making sense? Yeah. So unless all of this, which look like disqualifications, wealth, name, fame, if they're deployed in Krishna's service, then they become an asset. Otherwise, enemy. Disqualification. So if we have wealth or name or fame, if you use that in the service of Krishna, if you have some talent, if you use it for the service of Krishna, you remain humble. If you don't use it, it becomes pride. Once ego increases, ahankar increases, and it becomes disqualified to get access to Bhagavad Gita. Okay. So with whatever reason, if one has these material opulences, they must be deployed in the service of Krishna, else they will become an obstacle in the service of Krishna, in getting access to Bhagavad Gita. Making sense? Yeah. And therefore, the royal order should understand the science of Bhagavad Gita in order to be able to rule the citizens and protect them from material bondage to lust. Human life is meant for cultivation of spiritual knowledge. In eternal relationship with Supreme Personality of Godhead, and the executive heads of all states and all planets are obliged to impart this lesson to the citizens by education, culture, and devotion. In other words, the executive heads of all states are intended to spread the science of Krishna consciousness so that people may take advantage of the great science and pursue a successful path utilizing the opportunity of human form of life. So the purpose of human life is get access to the spiritual knowledge, transcendental knowledge, conquer this lust, and get out of all problems forever. In this millennium, the sun god is known as Vivashwan, the king of the sun, which is the origin of all planets within the solar system. In Brahma Samhita, it is stated, Yak Chakshur Esha Savita Sakal Grahanam Raja Samsata Sura Murti Ashesha Tejaha Yashyagya Brahmati Sambraha Kala Chakro Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. Let me worship, Lord Brahma said, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Govinda, or Krishna, who is the original person and under whose order the sun which is the king of planets, is assuming immense power and heat. The sun represents the eye of the Lord and traverses in its orbit in obedience to his order. Okay, you know, sun gets heat from where? What is the source of heat sun has? It comes from the effulgence originating from the body of Krishna. So the original sun, original source of heat or light which sun is dissipating, it actually comes from Krishna's body, which is called Brahma. So they all work under the direction of Krishna. The sun is the king of planets and the sun god. At present, the name is Vivashwan, rules the sun planet. So somebody may argue, sun में तो इतना आग होता है, heat होता है, वहां पर भी लोग रहते हैं क्या? What is your view? Are people there in sun planet? Will they not burn immediately? Why? Why?
Body is made like that.
The body has, you know, this Agni component higher than other components. They have Panch Mahabhuta. So if we stay on land like earthly planet, our earth component is high. Like fish who stays in water, its water component is high. Similarly, a living entity who's staying in sun planet, their Agni component is high. People who stay in heaven, their air component is very high. That's why when they come to earth, they're all in the air. They float in the air. They don't keep their foot on. You know why? The air component. That's why they live longer. Why people in heaven live longer? Because of higher air component. Okay. So there are residents in sun planet also. There's a king also. Can we reach sun planet through our satellite? Do you think? Can we reach moon planet? Any idea? Can we reach moon planet? No. Moon is even after sun. Moon is farther than sun. Sun come first. So you have to pass through sun before you reach moon. So all the scientists who claim we have reached moon, they would have gone to some mountain or planet and picked up some dirt and came and claimed that they have reached moon planet. They cannot. Materially, no one can reach these planets. Krishna will tell later how to go to moon or sun later. Not by mechanical means. So we have spent trillions of dollars just to collect some dirt. You know, I remember when people had reached moon, so-called moon planet, and there was a lot of news in the air. Oh, वहाँ पर plot कट रहे हैं, खरीदना है क्या? You can buy a plot on the moon planet. Just imagine. No one can reach moon planet in mechanical satellites. The sun is the king of planets and the sun god rules the sun planet, which is controlling all other planets by supplying heat and light. He is rotating under the order of Krishna, and Lord Krishna originally made Vivashwan his first disciple to understand the science of Bhagavad Gita. The Gita is not therefore a speculative treatise for insignificant mundane scholar, but it is a standard book of knowledge coming down from time immemorial. In Mahabharata, we can trace out the history of Gita as Treta Yugado Chakato Vishwan Manavedado Manuschaloka Dhati Artham Suta Yekshvakave Dado Ishkvakuna Cha Katito Vyapa Lokan Avastita. In the beginning of millennium known as Treta Yuga, the science of relationship with the Supreme was delivered by Vivashwan to Manu. So Vishwan gave this knowledge to whom? Manu. Manu, being the father of mankind, gave it to the son Maharaj Ishwaku. Okay, this Manav Shabd comes from Manu. Manu is the father of humanity, mankind. Okay. the king of this earth planet and forefather of the Raghu dynasty in which Lord Ramachandra appeared. Therefore, Bhagavad Gita existed in human society from the time of Maharaja Ishwaku. At present moment, we have just passed through 5,000 years of Kali Yuga, which lasts 4,32,000 years. Before this, there was Dwapar Yuga, and before that, there was Treta Yuga. Thus, some 2 million years back, or 20 lakh years back, Manu spoke Bhagavad Gita to his disciple and son Maharaj Ishwaku, the king of this planet Earth. The age of current Manu is calculated to be 30 crore years, of which 12 crores have passed. Excepting that before the birth of Manu, the Gita was spoken by the Lord to his disciple, the sun god Vishwan. A rough estimate is that Gita was spoken at least 12 crore years ago, and in human society it has been extant for 2 million years, in existence for 2 million years. It was re-spoken by the Lord again to Arjuna about 5,000 years back. That is a rough estimate of history of Bhagavad Gita, according to Gita itself and according to version of the speaker, Lord Sri Krishna. It was spoken to sun god Vishwan because he is also a Kshatriya and is the father of all Kshatriyas who are descendants of sun god and Surya Vamsha, Kshatriyas. Because Bhagavad Gita is as good as Vedas, being spoken by Supreme Personality of Godhead, this knowledge is apurishaya, superhuman. Since the Vedic instructions are accepted as they are without human interpretation, Gita must therefore be accepted without mundane interpretation. The mundane wranglers may speculate on Gita in their own ways, but that is not Bhagavad Gita as it is. Therefore, Bhagavad Gita has to be accepted as it is from the disciplic succession, parampara. And it is described herein that the Lord spoke to sun god spoke to his own son Manu, and Manu spoke to his son Ishwaku. So this knowledge, if you want to receive this knowledge as it is, without any contamination, without dilution, you must approach a bona fide parampara, disciplic succession. Otherwise, one will not get original Bhagavad Gita. When Prabhupada wrote this commentary, Prabhupada mentioned already 650-700 commentaries existed, but none of them communicated essence of the originality of Bhagavad Gita. Okay, so Prabhupada wrote Bhagavad Gita as it is, what Krishna spoke to Arjuna. Okay, so here we end verse number 1. So I wanted to do 2 and 3 also. It looks like. Okay, we can do the second.
I have a question, Prabhu.
हाँ नरेश पे बोलो.
Prabhuji, in the Yajurveda, there is a Jaya mantra of the sun god. Jaya mantra means the mantra to meditate upon the sun god. It says, Jaya Sada Savitru Sumandal Madhyavarti Narayana Sarsijasana Satyamishta. Means there is a Narayan who is sitting inside the sun god. And here in the Shloka 1, Krishna is saying that I told this first to sun god Vivaswan. So my question is, how Vivaswan is different from Narayan? And we know that Krishna is Narayan himself. So why Krishna need to tell this knowledge to Narayana?
You're saying Narayan, this verse which you're talking about, it says Narayan stays in sun planet, is it?
Yeah, in the Jaya mantra.
Sun god.
In the Jaya mantra of the sun god, in the Yajurveda, it is mentioned that the Narayan is sitting inside the sun god, in the sun disk basically.
Okay.
So it says Jaya Sada Savitru Sumandal Madhyavarti. So on the lotus of the inside the sun disk, Narayana is sitting, and that's how the light is coming from the sun to the other planets. Now here in the verse 1 of chapter 5, it says that Krishna told this first to the sun god. So if Narayana is sitting inside the sun, and Krishna is telling this knowledge to Narayana, means to the sun god. Why Krishna need to tell this knowledge to Narayana? I mean, there is a conflict.
So yes, actually, Radha is reading something on Google trying to tell me that Surya Narayan, you must have heard about. Surya Narayan is a partial expansion of Narayan only, who stays in, sun planet, right? Partial expansion. Like the many partial expansions of Krishna. One of them is Surya Narayana. So Krishna can always interact with partial expansions. When Krishna came to this material world in Dwapar Yuga, Mahavishnu wanted to see Krishna, his expansion. And Krishna, you must have heard about this Brahmana story, whose son died, and Arjuna wanted to bring that son back. And then Arjuna and Krishna both went to, Karanodak Sagar, and they met Mahavishnu. So why did Mahavishnu did all the drama? Why? He wanted to see Krishna. He wanted to see Krishna, of whom he is an expansion. Right? So Krishna can always give knowledge to his expansion. There's no problem. Right? All the devotees, for example, Arjuna, he is a devotee. Actually, he knows everything. Why is Krishna giving knowledge to Arjuna? Prabhupada tells us, no, he is only acting like an instrument, to receive this knowledge so that we can receive this knowledge, in that disciplic succession. Isn't it? Arjuna also knows what is Bhagavad Gita. So all these great
So
people.
it does mean that Krishna need to give the knowledge to his expansion also, you mean?
Not to give. He is passing on this knowledge to expansions to finally transmit it to us.
Okay.
Okay. Real essence of knowledge transfer is transfer through disciplic succession. Correct? No, otherwise, how will Krishna tell us this knowledge directly? It will come through parampara only. In parampara, it could be his partial manifestation, it could be his devotee sometimes. Isn't it? Even, Brahma's position is actually a Jeev Tattva, but sometimes Krishna takes over. When qualified Jiva is not available to take care of Brahma's position, then Vishnu comes as Brahma. Even Shiva, I read yesterday. Even sometimes Jiva is sometimes Vishnu himself takes position of Shiva, or sometimes even Jeev Tattva also becomes Shiva. Okay. So these are all different expansions, and essence is disciplic succession. The point being made here is bona fide knowledge comes through bona fide parampara. Correct? That is the essence of this verse. Okay. So when people like Surya Narayan or Arjuna receive this knowledge, it doesn't mean they don't know. It means they are becoming only an instrument. Finally, for us to receive this knowledge. Okay. Thank you, Naresh Prabhu. Nice question. Anyone else? We'll read next verse in the next session. Anyone else? No question. Okay. Fine, if there's no question. Thank you very much. We'll see you next week. I hope everybody is chanting now. Anyone who is not chanting still? Sab kar rahe hain na? Oh, very nice. Pradeep Prabhu, you are chanting? Hare Krishna. Sorry, I'm not able to hear.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
I do one or maximum 2 malas a day.
Very good. Very good. At least do it every day. Chant whatever one or two every day. without fail. Gradually you can increase. Thank you, Prabhuji. Yes, Naresh Prabhuji. Okay. Naresh Prabhuji, you have any question? You raise your hand. Okay, we close it. So,
It's done, Prabhu. Yeah, it makes sense. Thank you.
thank you, Prabhuji. Yes, Vinita Mataji. You have any question? Unmute yourself. Yes.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
I have a question related to the last chapter about prasadam. If we get food from restaurant, can we offer it to Krishna and then have it?
Okay. Higher principle is it should be cooked by you, devotees. Krishna accepts prasadam which is cooked and offered by devotees. Because in restaurant, the consciousness with which they prepare is commercial. It is not of love. Like, a child may eat many things outside, but he's never satisfied. घर पे 2 chapati भी खाएगा ना, he feels very satisfied. Why? Because that food has been cooked with love, specifically for the child. But outside restaurant, that is not the case. They cook with commercial reasons and with what consciousness we don't know. So when we eat grains cooked by such people, their consciousness has a huge influence on our consciousness. Okay, so we should try to offer something to Krishna which has been cooked with love, right? But sometimes some people from outside, they come to our houses and they give some sweets. So what do? So as a second principle, we can offer. But we should not, as a matter of practice, bring things from outside and then offer. We should try to cook. You're cooking for Krishna, no Mataji. So Krishna is very happy if you cook yourself, isn't it? Like a child is happy being nurtured by a mother, not by a maid. It has a lot of difference, isn't it? So Krishna, very intimately, attached to his devotees, he would love to receive bhoga cooked by his devotees with love. But, कोई लेके आ जाता है, तो उसको you can't throw it. Then you can offer it, consume, no problem. But these things should not have, onion, garlic, tea, coffee, such things we cannot offer.
Yeah.
Okay. Make sense?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay. Anyone else has any question? So please try to focus on these 2 things, chanting and prasadam. Very, very important aspect. To bring tongue under control. When tongue is under control, other senses also eventually will come under control. If you have any doubt, you need any help, feel free to contact me. I'll be happy to serve you. Okay. Thank you, Ji. बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद.